Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at the 12 motorcycles dealers can't get rid of. Number 12, Kawasaki Eliminator. The Kawasaki Eliminator has become one of the hardest bikes for dealers in the USA to clear out, and the numbers behind it tell the whole story. In many states, it sits for more than 60 to 90 days on the floor, while faster sellers move in under 30. That slow turnover forces managers to keep dropping the tag. What started in the mid $4,000 range in many regions now slips into the low $4,000 bracket, and in some cases even the high $3,000 mark during clearance pushes. Dealers say foot traffic does not help much either. Out of every 10 people who walk in, maybe one gives the Eliminator a serious look, and almost none move past the talk stage. That means the bike pulls almost no leads and brings in weak test ride numbers compared to other cruisers. When a model cannot create steady leads, it becomes dead weight on the floor, and that is exactly what has happened here. Because of the slow pace, carrying costs stack up. A unit that stays parked for months can cost a store a few $100s in storage, interest, and lost space. That turns into real numbers when a shop has 3 or 4 Eliminators just sitting there. By the time they move one, the store has already burned through a chunk of profit, which is why the discounts keep getting bigger. In short, the Eliminator has turned into a bike that dealers are desperate to cycle out. When a model keeps sliding from mid $4,000 pricing to the edge of the $3,000 zone just to attract attention, it proves how tough the sell has become. Number 11, Harley-Davidson Street 750. The Harley-Davidson Street 750 has become a long-term headache for dealers across the USA, and many stores say they have units that have sat for well over 90 days because shoppers simply walk past it. New buyers expected the soul of a classic Harley, yet the Street 750 often feels more like a simple city bike, and that mismatch shows up in its sales numbers. Dealers have dropped the tag from the mid $7,000 zone to the mid $6,000 bracket in some regions, but the markdown still does not push it out the door. Even when fresh incentives roll in, traffic does not convert. Out of 10 walk-ins, maybe one asks about it, and most leave after hearing that the bike trades the usual Harley feel for a lighter, less iconic build. Because of that weak pull, many test ride slots stay empty. Managers in states like Texas, Florida, and Ohio have said the same thing. The Street 750 has become a ghost on the showroom floor. Riders glance at it, compare it to bigger models sitting a few feet away, then move on. In short, the Street 750 has turned into a bike that dealers keep pushing, discounting, and reshuffling, yet it still refuses to move off the floor. Number 10, Indian FTR. The Indian FTR has turned into one of the slowest movers on showroom floors, and many dealers say it pulls almost no real leads anymore. At first it drew interest as a flat-track style road bike, but that excitement faded fast. Most shoppers in the USA looking at this price range want a clear purpose, yet the FTR sits in a strange middle zone that makes buyers pause. That pause kills sales. Units that should move in 30 days end up sitting for 60, 90, or even longer, clogging up space while faster sellers rotate out. To keep it moving, many stores have slashed the tag from the low $14,000 zone to the high $11,000 bracket, and in a few states it even dips toward the $10,000 range. Even with those cuts, the story hardly changes. Only a small share of walk-ins ask about it, and the test ride count stays low. The longer it sits, the more it costs the store. 1 or 2 units is fine, but when a dealer has 4 or 5 FTRs parked for months, the carrying costs stack up fast. That forces even deeper discounts, and at that point the profit is almost gone. The discount cycle keeps repeating because the bike struggles to hit the sweet spot for everyday riders, and that gap has turned it into one of the most stubborn models in its class. Overall, the FTR keeps slipping from the $14,000 level to the edge of the $10,000 bracket, yet it still stays stuck on showroom floors while other models pass it by. Number 9, Harley-Davidson Nightster. The Harley-Davidson Nightster has become a tough unit for dealers to clear, and many stores say it brings in far fewer leads than expected. At first it drew interest as a lighter way into the brand, but that spark faded fast on showroom floors. Most riders in the USA looking for a Harley want a strong feel and a bold stance. But the Nightster lands in a strange zone where it feels too mild for loyal buyers and too pricey for riders cross-shopping with other mid-range bikes. Because of that gap, it ends up sitting for 60 to 90 days or even longer while other models rotate out with ease. Dealers have tried to push it harder by cutting the tag from the low $13,000 zone to the mid-$11,000 range, yet even with that drop, the Nightster still struggles to move. Walk-ins stop for a second look, but only a small share ask for details, and test ride numbers stay weak across most states. The moment a bike fails to pull steady test rides, it becomes a slow mover, and that is exactly what has happened here. Stores carrying multiple units say the holding costs stack up fast. If 2 or 3 Nightsters sit for months, that ties up thousands in floorplan interest and blocks space for bikes that would sell in half the time. In short, the Nightster keeps drifting down from $13,000 into the $10,000 zone, yet it still refuses to move at the speed dealers need, turning it into one more model they simply cannot shake loose. Number 8. Suzuki Boulevard M109R. The Suzuki Boulevard M109R has turned into a long-term floor-sitter across many dealerships in the USA. It looks bold and carries a strong name, but the market has shifted toward lighter and easier cruisers, leaving this big machine stuck in a slow lane. Dealers say most shoppers walk right past it because the size alone scares off newer riders, and veteran riders now want something less heavy and easier to handle in town traffic. That drop in interest shows in turnover numbers, with many stores holding the same unit for more than 90 days. To move it, managers keep slicing the tag. What used to sit in the mid-$18,000 range has slid into the mid-$15,000 zone, and in some states even touches the high $14,000 bracket during clearance pushes. Even with that sharp drop, the bike still feels like a tough sell. Stores carrying 2 or 3 M109Rs say the holding cost becomes a real issue. Each month adds a few $100s in interest and storage, and that adds up fast when the bikes refuse to roll out the door. Managers try weekend DMOS, promo bundles, and deep markdowns, but the bike still struggles because the target rider base has shrunk. In short, the M109R keeps falling from $18,000 into the mid-$15,000 zone, yet dealers still cannot shake it loose, making it one of the toughest heavy cruisers to clear right now. Number 7. BMW R18. The BMW R18 has become one of the hardest full-size cruisers for dealers across the USA to clear, and the issue shows up the moment you look at how long these units sit on the floor. Many stores report that an R18 can stay parked for 90 to 120 days, far longer than the turnover window dealers aim for. The bike draws quick glances because of its huge frame, but that is also the reason most shoppers keep walking. It feels big, heavy, and pricey in a market where riders want comfort and less bulk. To keep it moving, dealers have cut the tag again and again. What once sat in the high $19,000 zone now slips into the mid-$16,000 range, and in some regions dips toward the low $16,000 bracket during clear-out events. For stores stuck with 2 or 3 units, the carrying costs pile up fast. Every month adds more interest and storage cost, and each day the bike sits, it blocks room for models that would move in half the time. Managers try weekend promos, discount bundles, and even heavy markdowns, but the response stays weak because most riders think the bike feels too big for daily use and too costly for what it offers. In short, the R18 has slid from the $19,000 level toward the mid-$16,000 bracket, yet it still refuses to move at a steady pace, making it one more cruiser that dealers simply cannot clear. Number 6. Moto Guzzi V85. The Moto Guzzi V85 has become a slow mover in many USA dealerships, and the problem shows up in how long these units sit untouched. Most stores say a V85 can linger for 60 to 90 days because shoppers walk past it without asking for much info. The style is unique, but that uniqueness limits interest, since most riders in this price zone want familiar names and stronger resale potential. That gap makes it tough for sales teams to pitch, and the low test ride count proves it. Dealers have trimmed the tag from the mid-$13,000 range into the high $10,000 bracket, but even with that cut, movement stays slow. Walk-ins look at the body, nod, then move toward more common options with a wider support base. When a bike fails to spark early interest, holding costs rise fast and managers feel that pressure. Promo Weekends and Bundle offers help a little but not enough to make a dent. Most riders hesitate because parts support and long-term value feel uncertain compared to larger brands. When that doubt sets in, even a heavy discount cannot push the unit out the door. In short, the V85 has dropped from $13,000 to the $10,000 zone, yet it still sits far longer than dealers can afford, adding to the list of bikes they cannot clear. Number 5. Triumph Trident 660. The Triumph Trident 660 has turned into a stubborn floor-sitter in many USA dealerships, even though it launched with strong hype. The issue is simple. Most riders in this bracket now lean toward used midsize bikes that cost less and offer more room, which leaves the Trident 660 stuck in a tight spot. Dealers report turnover times stretching past 60 days, and some units even cross the 90-day mark because walk-ins glance at it but rarely follow up with real interest. To push it out, managers have dropped the tag from the low $10,000 zone into the mid-$8,000 range. In a few states, it even slides toward the high $7,000 bracket during clearance events. Even with that drop, test ride numbers stay weak. Shoppers say the bike looks fine, but it feels too close to cheaper naked bikes on the market, so they struggle to justify the price. That hesitation slows sales to a crawl. Dealers carrying 3 or 4 units say the holding costs became a real pain this year. Each month adds more interest, more storage, and more pressure to cut the price again. Some stores tried pairing it with gear bundles or weekend promos, but the results barely changed. The bike just does not create enough pull in a segment with heavy competition and plenty of cheaper choices. Overall, the Trident 660 has dipped from $10,000 into the $8,000 zone, yet it still moves too slow for dealers who are tired of watching it sit. Number 4. Indian Challenger. The Indian Challenger has become a tough heavyweight for dealers across the USA to push out, and the problem shows the moment you look at how long these units sit still. Many stores report turnover stretching past 90 days, with some hitting 120, which is far beyond what floor managers want. The bike pulls quick stares because of its size, but most shoppers step back once they hear the real-world numbers. Riders in this price zone want comfort and simple upkeep, and the Challenger feels too big and too costly for many of them. Dealers have cut the tag hard just to get movement. What once sat in the mid-$28,000 zone has now dropped into the mid-$23,000 range, and during heavy clearance events some stores even slide it toward the low $23,000 bracket. Even with that drop, test ride sign-ups stay thin. Managers try weekend promos, gear bundles, or steep markdowns, but the response stays quiet because the buyer pool for a large touring bike at this price is shrinking. Many riders say the same thing. It feels like too much bike for daily life. In short, the Challenger has sunk from $28,000 toward the $23,000 zone, yet it still sits for months, turning it into one more heavyweight dealers cannot shake loose. Number 3. Harley-Davidson Road Glide. The Harley-Davidson Road Glide has become one of the slowest-moving cruisers on USA showroom floors, and dealers say it sits for months without meaningful interest. The bike is built for long-distance comfort, but its high price and size scare off most casual buyers. Many shoppers glance at it, appreciate the styling, but quickly shift attention to smaller, easier-to-handle models that fit both city streets and weekend rides. That hesitation has turned the Road Glide into a persistent floor filler that refuses to rotate like other Harley models. To push inventory, dealers have sliced the tag from the mid-$20,000 range into the high $16,000 bracket, and in some clearance-heavy states it even edges toward the mid-$16,000 zone. Even with those cuts, test ride numbers remain low and walk-ins rarely commit. The bike struggles to find a buyer pool large enough to match its presence on the floor, creating months of carrying costs and blocked space for faster-moving inventory. Stores holding multiple units report mounting expenses. 2 or 3 road glides sitting idle can cost a dealership thousands in interest and storage fees each month. Many riders admire it but hesitate due to both price and size, leaving dealers constantly adjusting strategies to free up floor space. In short, the Road Glide has slid from $20,000 into the high $16,000 bracket, yet it still refuses to move fast enough, making it one more cruiser that dealers simply cannot clear. Number 2, Triumph Rocket 3. The Triumph Rocket 3 has become a major challenge for dealers in the USA, largely because of its massive size, weight, and price tag. Many stores report units sitting for over 120 days while other bikes in the same showroom fly off the floor. Riders are often impressed at first glance, but the sheer bulk and high entry cost push most buyers to consider lighter, more manageable options. To try and sell it, dealers have slashed the tag from the high $20,000 range into the high $16,000 bracket, and in some markets it even dips toward the mid-$16,000 level during clearance events. Even with that aggressive pricing, the test ride interest remains minimal. Stores with 2 or 3 Rocket 3s say the carrying costs can climb into thousands each month, considering floorplan interest and storage. Promotions, weekend demos, and package deals make a small dent, but rarely enough to clear inventory quickly. The bike's unique appeal does not translate into strong sales volume, leaving dealers stuck with units that gather dust while they focus on models that actually sell. In short, the Rocket 3 has fallen from $20,000 into the high $16,000 zone, yet it remains one of the most difficult motorcycles for dealers to move off the floor. Number 1, Indian Chief. The Indian Chief has become a showroom fixture that dealers across the USA struggle to clear, often sitting for 90 to 120 days without meaningful buyer interest. Its classic cruiser styling and large frame grab attention, but the high price and size turn many riders away. Casual buyers and even loyal cruiser enthusiasts often hesitate, leaving the bike lingering while faster-moving models fly off the floor. This slow turnover makes it a constant concern for managers who need every unit to earn its keep. Dealers have tried deep discounts to stimulate sales, dropping the tag from the high $20,000 range into the high $16,000 bracket. In some regions, it even touches the mid-$16,000 level during clearance pushes. Even with these reductions, the bike continues to see minimal test rides and few serious inquiries. Holding 2 or 3 Chiefs at a time adds significant carrying costs, including floorplan interest and storage fees which quickly cut into profits. Managers run weekend promotions, bundle deals, and markdowns, but none consistently accelerate movement. The combination of high price, large size, and a shrinking target buyer pool keeps the Chief as one of the slowest-selling motorcycles on showroom floors. And with this, we have reached the end of this video. Make sure to like it and subscribe the channel for future upcoming videos.